All right. Now we're good. Oh, fuck. No, it's in there. Is the memory card in the back of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little one.
Yep.
Yep.
We're solid. Perfect. All right. That would have been shit.
Is the GoPro recording?
Yeah, we're all recording.
Sweet.
All right, so that's all gonna get cut. But this isn't.
Battling, banging bars, trying to fight for that inside.
Went for a little pass from the inside and I got sideways and I got shuffled back.
I took the inside line and I cleaned him the f out.
This is the Inside Line Podcast with your hosts,
Caleb Russell,
and
JG, Johnny Gallagher.
it's the off-road show you didn't know you needed. Thanks to our partners Carry Resources and Scott Goggles. Defend your vision.
All right. Episode 5. We are back in action.
One for the thumb, baby.
Man, that's 5 weeks now.
We are
I
consistent.
can't believe we've kept it up this long.
I know. We're normally pretty delinquent about being, on time, on a schedule. But in our new retired life, we're making things happen.
Yeah, our weekends, Sunday afternoons, they consist of recording podcasts. Actually, this is a day late because we waited for the Enduro results.
That's right. We've normally been recording on
Post-race.
Saturdays.
Yeah. We did last Saturday after day 1 of the Sprint Enduro. Today we're Sunday evening, so this gives me even less time to edit this together, Johnny.
So those of you listening at home, when you hear this thing edited and on air live on the interwebs tomorrow at noon, Caleb has been working on it. He won't sleep tonight.
No, I will definitely sleep tonight. I'm getting it more figured out. So I've got a process, so it's becoming more efficient. This is round 5. I should cut the time and like it's been cut in half. I cut a third off of it. I'm going to cut another third off of it here pretty soon. I'm not even going to edit it. It's just going to be up on YouTube and everything. I'm just going to hit stop. So,
well, eventually, like we talked about, we're going to do this live.
It's going to be like the Instagram algorithm. When you think it just happens. So I'm going to say this, edit this and it's done.
Greatest editor alive. Hey, we got a couple guests with us in studio. Guest hosts, that is. We've got, just thought of this. We got Johnny G squared in studio. So there's 2 of us. We got, or as I like to call him, imposter Johnny G.
Double trouble.
Double trouble for sure. And then Layne Michael in studio with us as well. Both you guys already having a race under your belt here in 2023, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well as what to anticipate more, what you guys have coming ahead as we get into full strength of the racing season coming up here.
They raced last weekend. They got another race coming up this coming weekend. The Enduro was today, the National Enduro. Layne has a full gas Sprint Enduro, and there's a U.S. Sprint Enduro on the same weekend, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys were pitted against each other the last couple seasons and last weekend, and now you guys will be kind of parting ways. Layne, you'll be focused on the full gas Sprint Enduro series. Johnny, U.S. Sprint Enduro series. So after last weekend, you guys can go back to being friends now.
Nah, we were still friends before. Never changed.
Always friends.
Just adversaries for 8.5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Anyways, before we get into the show, we've got thank our sponsors here. We got a new sponsor.
Yeah, we do. Hey, we talked about we were going to be an all-inclusive podcast here.
We're coming up,
and we had.
I've got something, Johnny. I forgot. I've got these cameras.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We've got a couple new sponsors actually, technically from our last show. We added obviously a company that I believe all of us.
We have Scott Goggles, John Knowles from Scott Goggles, hooking it up. When we get to 1,000 Instagram followers, we're gonna give these away to one lucky follower. We're gonna have Layne sign them. BK signed them. Actually, I think we just stole these out of Ben's locker.
Yeah, we did. No, he gave them up. He
willingly gave them up.
We told him we'd replace them.
Yeah. Scott's going to replace Ben with these goggles. These came straight from Ben Kelly's gear bag. Unopened. We opened them Ben Kelly signed them. Johnny signed them. We're gonna have Layne sign them before he leaves here.
Let me clarify. Johnny Girrior
Johnny
signed
G.
them.
You even get a bonus lens.
Yeah, comes with
bonus
a bonus
lens, goggle baggie.
Dialed.
We'll put in a shameless plug here. I mean, I think all of us, including Ben, who signed those, you know, we could choose any goggle company we want. We all choose Scott. There's a reason for it.
They are very good goggles for off-road.
Best of the best, baby. Defend your vision.
Defend it. Anyways, we got Scott goggles, Carry Resources. They're a staple here at the Inside Line. They've been on since day one.
Yep.
And Quad Tech.
Quad Tech. We are officially a diversified podcast here. We said from the very beginning, when you called me that first night, Christmas Eve, you're like, hey man, I don't want this just to be about dirt bikes. If there's things going on in the quadist world, we want to talk about it. That was before quadist was the thing. But if there's things going on in the ATV world, we want to talk about it. And there are things, there will be things. So the fine folks from Quad Tech Custom Seat Covers came on board and said, hey, look, we listened to the podcast. We want to be a part of it. So they're officially bringing you segments of and a partner of the Inside Line podcast, Quad Tech Seats.
It's going to be good. Yeah, it's a real tricky dynamic because Johnny's the Yamaha ambassador. I'm a KTM ambassador and still like working with the team. So I got to be real careful with these sponsor lists, but I don't think they're going to be too bad about Quad Tech. I mean, I don't know of any of my sponsors that do have anything to do with quads besides Scott. So there we go.
That's right.
Perfect.
Besides the oils and stuff like that. I mean, quads take oil too.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few that cross over differently from one to the other, but we'll just run with that.
Really?
It sounded good. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's something we talked about from the very beginning. Obviously, your orange is orange gets. I'm a little blue Smurf running around. You know, your two wheels, I'm four. But hey, man, there's one love for motorsports, and that's what this is all about. Off-road racing.
Yep. It is what it is. One big family.
That's right.
Just some like four wheels.
That's right.
Like I would say something else too.
Yeah.
Some like a little more to love.
Yep.
That's right. We like them thick.
Some of you guys out there are a little too sweet, if you know what I mean.
Now, hold on a second. That's a little bit of a prelude to an upcoming new addition to the podcast here. I'm not going to give away too much, but I will say when we get to that point, that was my line. You borrowed it. You can't use it back on me.
I know. Well, it was if the shoe fits, right?
Yeah. If the shoe fits, wear it.
All right. Well, let's get into the show. We got like we said, we got Johnny G in the house. Two Johnny Gs. Johnny G over there. Johnny G over here. Layne Michael. These guys just got done with the U.S. Sprint Enduro last weekend. We had some racing today, though.
Yep,
National Enduro.
So while we got,
my God, what happened?
I don't know, but while we got these guys here, you know, these guys are gonna be lining up against pretty much all these guys in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
At the GNCC, and some, I don't know that there's anybody that raced today at the NEPG that's doing the sprints. The looks on your face is kind of saying no. So
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so. Yeah, I don't think
so
too many.
not much
do
crossover
all
between the
three
sprints and the NEPG, but
It's a lot of racing. If
a
you're
lot
gonna
of-
do all three.
yeah, a lot of these guys you'll be racing against in GNCC. So I mean, let's just jump straight into it. Let's break it down. The results from after 6 tests, day one. We've a big hype here on the Inside Line podcast.
I was real worried about this because, you know, if it was left up to Cowie's marketing managing, Grant wouldn't have but a week on that bike. So, and he went out and just obliterated everybody. But I mean, I'm sure he has more time on the bike. Absolutely. Grizzly Grant just went out and did what Grizzly Grant does and mowed his trees down.
defending champ, you know,
Yeah.
and I think
He's been a threat in Enduros for several years. You know, he's always been right there.
and Sumter is his jam.
Sumter's Stu's jam.
That's what when I was asked who was gonna win, I said Stu for sure.
P7.
Yeah, that didn't pan out.
No.
Did not pan out. Like I said, we don't have much knowledge of the event other than looking at the test times. So haven't really spoken to any of the guys, but the results speak for themselves. Grant Baylor, new ride, comes out, gets the job done. Only 1 week ago was it actually made public.
He just
Of
signed
what
a week
brand?
ago.
Yeah.
It would actually be a week tomorrow.
It was very ironic that it happened to be right after our last podcast too, that it came out.
And how many tags did we get?
We got a bunch. We got a bunch. Glad we could help.
Hey,
And it wasn't to talk bad. We were
No.
just stirring the pot a
Well,
little.
and
but I mean,
sure.
why
Let me-
not gonna
let
throw
me-
this out there? Like, man,
let us clarify one thing. We didn't know for a fact.
Yeah, we were
We were
like,
genuinely asking the question because we had all heard it, but it was no one said like, yes, I've talked to Grant. I know for a fact. It was just this industry thing. Like everybody's like, hey, I heard Grant's been
well,
talking
shoot,
to
we even
Cowie.
had String on the team,
Yeah.
and he was like, yeah, he was at the photo shoot, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, if he genuinely does, like says he doesn't know, then I was like, is he or is he not? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can go take photos on something, but maybe something didn't work out. Who knows? I mean,
But we
But
know
it
it
was
did,
strange.
We know it did work out. He
came out.
He
and
put a shellacking on him
Yep.
today. He won. I believe it was
good.
5 of the 6. No, four
of the six tests. Ryder kept him honest, man. He picked it up. He was right. He's been riding very good these last few weeks, and he went through the Enduro on a mission. He just came up 20 and a half seconds short.
Yeah, which I mean, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, it was a long day of riding, a lot of time on the bike, and 20 seconds.
He was right there.
That's one bad test, one fall. But yeah, those two kind of really checked out on everybody.
Yeah, they were definitely the head of the class today, and I expect those. Obviously, Grant's great at enduros. I expect him to be up there battling every race. Ryder Lafferty was in the enduro points lead in 2022 at one point, so I expect him to be pretty solid all season too. But back there behind him, it was pretty back and forth a little bit. Toth and Craig were kind of like the best of the rest for that last podium position. And then even Liam Draper was up there from Pro 2 in that overall position, like hunt for third. So it was interesting. It seemed like 1 and 2 or 1 and 2 most of the day.
Josh Toth did win a test.
Yep.
He won test 5, I believe it was. And so obviously getting pretty comfy on that gas, having it. Ended up third overall. He did edge out Liam for 3:08 on the day and won a test. But yeah, it's
Was I right by seeing that Pro 2 riders were starting behind Pro 1
Yeah,
riders?
there was so from what I understand, there were so many Pro 2 riders because they start on row 21 and then Pro 1 starts on 31, so there's more than 10 riders, so they were putting them with the Pro 1 guys, which is a little unfair
That's what I was thinking. Those
because
guys
you
have
get a
big
huge advantage.
Yeah.
Following's a lot easier than
Yep.
reading trail.
Yeah.
and I mean, I guess I shouldn't say a lot of people. The people that I've talked to, nobody specifically sitting here, so I won't mention names, but said that, that put Liam Draper and Mike Wachowski at a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to follow Craig and Ryder starting on their minute like that.
Yep. I tell you what else was impressive. Grant Davis, first race in Pro 2, first enduro on a big bike, I believe, fourth in Pro 2, was up there, outside the top 2. He wasn't in Liam and Wachowski's range there as far as speed. But like we said, Liam and Wachowski, I think that one of them started with Ryder and one of them started with Craig. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's you just
I know.
follow those guys. They're in the top 3, 4 all day. So,
Yeah. That'd be nice.
yeah.
Good ride for Grant though. Ended up
Great
P4 and
Yeah, I think he should be
I think that was
super-
his first ever enduro period.
I think it was, yeah.
Not timekeeping, but national enduro, non-sprint enduro
Yep.
format.
Fast kid, going places. Got to keep it on 2 wheels, and we'll see some good things out of him. But great result by him. And on down the list, what do we have, Johnny?
So obviously we talked about our top.
We
three.
have household names that were not so household today.
So yeah, Grant, Ryder, Josh, top 3 in Pro 1 and overall. Liam Draper taking the win in Pro 2, 4th OA. Craig DeLong, 5th OA, 4th in Pro 1. Wachowski didn't talk too much about him, but again, going back to some of the things we talked about in earlier shows, we knew he ended up at Phoenix Honda. Obviously, a solid ride.
First race on the Honda.
Yeah, first race on the Honda. Good result. Looking like he ended up when it was all said and done, 124. So only about 40 some seconds off of Liam. So a solid ride for him there in second. And then the next was 7th OA, Stu Baylor, 5th place in the Pro 1 class.
Yeah,
and
that's a little bit of a surprise for sure.
yeah, I mean, I think
Stu is always very good at Sumter. He likes the sand, likes that place. So yeah, just kind of off pace, off touch all day.
and I think the
don't
neat
think
thing.
it's lack of time on the bike. It seems like he's been riding quite a bit.
Yeah, and he's been, as far as we know, obviously been healthy. Finished the season healthy.
He looks healthy.
Finished the season healthy. He's been riding. You know, we've seen him come in before, kind of nursing injuries. As far as we haven't heard anything of any injuries. But the interesting thing about doing this so soon after the results is, as we're recording this, we haven't seen any social media posts. We haven't heard any feedback from anybody.
We haven't
that was
heard the
track.
excuses yet.
We're just going straight off of what off of what we see in the times and what we were expecting coming in. So
BK 10.
Yeah. So then jumping back, obviously Thorne Devlin, third in the Pro 2 class, 8th OA, solid ride for him on the gas. And then Evan Smith on the beta, 9th OA. And then, like you said, Ben Kelly back in the 10th place spot. Definitely was a little surprised to see him where he was at. Kind of started off slow, thought maybe he'd gain some momentum, and it just seemed like he really wasn't able to make time on those guys all day.
No, just kind of hung out right there in that zone of almost like, yeah, it's just that frustrating place mentally. It's like, how do I like bridge this gap? It's and it was such a big gap. It's like, all right, now how do I just chip away and get like closer to like 5th, not like bridge the gap? Because I mean, he was a minute off every test. So that's a huge gap. We're definitely gonna have to go back to the drawing board on that one.
I think, playing devil's advocate there.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate too, but his last race was a national enduro where he broke his leg. So,
well, and that's what I was just gonna
9
say.
months removed from racing. It's a long time to be off the bike. Yeah, but definitely,
I'd be a little weary going back to enduro after that too. But especially Sumter. I've never raced it. I've ridden close to Sumter, and it's always been pretty sketchy. So you can be more of a right answer to saying how sketchy it is. But I've always heard it's
I've always enjoyed the place and liked it. I know it's tight. It's definitely got some sketchy stuff to it because it is, you can go fast. It's rough, some rough stuff, and some of the braking bumps can catch you off guard. But Ben has historically never done great there. I think last year he started out with a 7th, and he goes to round 2 in the National Enduro Series and wins. So we could see that turnaround just like that,
Yeah.
And again, a lot of extenuating circumstances there, like you mentioned. It's been essentially a lifetime since he last lined up and ran an actual race, and going back to the series where things got derailed for him. So if we throw that over to you guys, Layne, we'll start with you. You've just heard the rundown on the top 10. You probably had already looked at some of the times yourself. Surprises, kind of things you expected that panned out exactly. What are your takeaways from today's National Enduro results?
I'll be honest, I didn't really keep up with it. I did glance midway through the day, and I actually didn't know who really won until you just...
Well, it was impossible to keep up with it after test 3. It was like, there must have been everybody like on the website. It pretty much crashed.
Okay, so maybe I only saw first 2 tests.
It seems like every episode we end up kind of stirring some things up. So let's go ahead and stir it up.
Oh, I wasn't.
No. I'm going to say it. NEPG, whoever's doing your results, they're incredibly difficult to follow. From trying to follow, and it's I've been for many years trying to do this, and they just don't update with any kind of regularity. They're very sporadic. One test will update. It'll be 2 hours until another one does. If we can work on that, you got fans wanting the information at home, and I understand it is sometimes tough to upload this stuff from remote locations. I have no idea where Sumter is. Maybe it's in the middle of nowhere and they don't have service. And that
it's
could be
2023. We want live TV.
Well, I'm not going there. But we were definitely
hire Elon. Get your internet set up.
Hey man, I got Starlink. I'll come to all the NEPGs and help upload. But no, it's great to be able to follow along. Unfortunately, it leaves people wanting more. And when they're not updating, they've finished tests. Like you're like, where are they at? We want to know what happened. So let's see what we can do to keep a little more smooth workings on that.
I got frustrated. It was like an hour and a half plus maybe 2 hours like dead time where it was like they went into test 3 and nobody ever came out, but all the amateur riders were like popping up like up through test 5. So I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Show me the results.
We were thirsty. We wanted the info.
But no, as far as results wise, like I honestly, with, the guys that I'm staying with, where we're riding, we were talking about it and they asked me who would win. And I just, without hesitation, I said Stu. I was like, Stu's obviously really good at enduros as well. He's, looks like same. He's been riding and he looks good, like how he's been riding. So I thought Stu was for sure going to be the main guy heading in. And yeah, I didn't know anything about Grant until the past week. He's been pretty MIA, which isn't abnormal for Grant, but yeah, no, I was shocked to definitely see Stu that far back. Like I said, I don't know if there was any issues or anything, but Stu's pretty good at riding through anything. So yeah, a bit surprised that Stu wasn't up there. But as for the rest, yeah, I mean, not too surprised with kind of the rest of the results. I was a little surprised seeing the Pro 2 guys up that far. It's been a while since I think some Pro 2 guys have been up that far. I think maybe when Ryder was in Pro 2 the last year, he kind of snuck up there a few times. But then I heard that they were starting with the pro guys, so that kind of made a bit more sense. It'd be pretty easy to kind of key off those guys, especially in enduro, not being the first to read the trail. But
how frustrating would that be for Ryder and Craig to have a fast pro guy that you know can follow you? Like, you're trying to focus on like your line and they're just like back there riding behind you. Like it would be frustrating. Like it'd be hard to like block that out, I feel like, in that environment, because you're not supposed to have that happen.
Well, I kind of know what they probably feel like, because Osborne was kind of cherry picking me a little bit at the sprint.
I heard he was cherry picking everybody.
I mean, I wasn't gonna make a big fuss about it, because like, I mean, I feel like
Come on, he's new.
Well, that's what he was saying, and he asked me if I had an issue with it, and I was like, I mean, yeah. I was like, it's kind of, you know, a bit, I forget the word I used, but I was like, it's more of a respect thing not to start so close. And he's like, well, I waited 5 seconds. And I'm like, I think it was pretty close. I was like, I didn't make any mistakes. And I heard you coming on the gas, coming into a corner. But anyways, he rode great. Like, I didn't make any mistakes, but it was kind of annoying. I was coming into a couple of the tighter sections, and when you hear someone right behind you, you're like, that sucks. But at the end of the day, he did end up getting told he's got to wait at least 5 seconds. So
to clarify for anybody that doesn't know how it works, at the Sprint Enduro format races, you have, is it 10 seconds or 20 seconds?
So they moved it to what, 10, because there's so many riders, but normally it's 15.
Okay, so normally it's a 15-second window from when the guy in front of you takes off until you have to go.
Off. And you have to wait a minimum of 5.
Right, a minimum of 5. But most people, it seems most people like that 15-second window. They try to wait most of it, because then that gives them an opportunity to make up more time. If the guy falls, has a bad test, whatever, it kind of gives you that extra buffer zone to suck up. And it's kind of a, would you say, almost a gentleman's agreement that you don't just take off right behind somebody? Because I know in the previous series, when it was full gas, there wasn't actually a rule that you couldn't take off right behind someone. As soon as the clock reset, you could take off. But I think then it was even 20 seconds at one point.
No, there was always a rule.
Was it? I've always heard 5 seconds for as long as I remember. You have to wait at least 5.
There definitely wasn't in the beginning, because I was a part of a discussion about it. There may have been one put in there at one point, but it was basically just stated that you have you.
It was
everyone
more like it wasn't. I mean, I don't believe full gas enduro had like their actual rule book, like when I was racing them, but like at all the riders meeting, they would tell you the exact same thing. You have 20 seconds. You have to go before the 20 seconds is up. You got to wait at least 5.
Yeah.
And 2, it's like golf. When you mark your ball and you walk across the green, you don't just walk in front of your buddy's line.
Again, that's what I'm saying. There's a gentleman's understanding,
gentleman's rule,
and whether or not Zach understood that and just disregarded it, or saw an opportunity to make some time.
I think the problem was he had Liam there with him, and he likes to push the boundaries of being really close.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, there's been a few people notorious for starting close.
Liam, I already told him. I told him.
Well, it worked out for him. It just worked out for him today. So
yeah, it did.
No, didn't even have to wait 5 seconds.
But in National Enduro, there's no such thing, right? Like, that's why they generally just don't put 2 guys of the same speed or similar speed on the same row, so you can't key off someone. Yeah. But in this case, it just happened.
Yeah. No, I think that kind of sucks for even some of your Pro 2 guys that may have not had that luxury of
they
keying off a pro. Yeah. Like, that's a huge advantage. Like, especially being behind those guys, like Craig's good and Ryder. So like, you're following 2 really fast guys. So
yeah, they
both
been riding good.
Yeah. But
it is what it is. That's how it was. There's more than 10 guys. They got thrown on other pro guys' rows.
Took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Johnny,
knock them.
Now to you, kind of the same
question. You know what? They should have because they are 2 factory level. They are 2 factory Pro 2 guys. They should have swapped that out with some lesser supported riders and been like, all right, you guys start up on 21 and 22.
Make it a little fair,
Yeah.
more fair.
I mean, there is no way. What's
Wouldn't be
what's
fair, but
what's fair and equal?
yeah.
You know, there's a boundary there. Like, is it equal or is it fair? Like, what do we want to make this? So,
Well,
but
how
I was
does
just
that-
saying
how
to
does
make
that
it
work?
interesting
Like, how do they?
because Liam and Mike are very talented dirt bike riders.
They're probably kind of the favorite in that class. Like if you really look at it too, like they're definitely probably the favorites in Pro 2
Yeah.
in the first place. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, how do they determine row assignments?
And like I said, we're just spitballing here.
Yeah.
We're not saying these are rules that need to be implemented. We're just having a discussion, a roundtable discussion about our opinions.
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, is there?
And if you don't like them, that's fine. You don't have to.
Is there like? There's no guidelines. Is it like? How do they determine row assignment?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't
Because I've always
Well,
heard about
at the
it.
first. I think it's based on the championship the year before for round one, and then row assignment is based on your previous finish.
But Liam didn't race Enduros last year.
I don't know.
I
how
know
it works.
that's how he got. That's why they got the later rows that were into the pro.
So what I'm getting at is it wasn't that Liam and Mike specifically were assigned the faster rows. It was that they were the spillover
Yeah.
because neither of them raced. So they basically got lucky. in a way.
they got lucky when they called in to sign up or signed up.
Yeah.
You know.
And moving forward, they would be ranked by their current points.
they'd be
So
starting at
that's not
21,
going to happen
22.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And Sumter's always a quagmire from what I hear because
Yeah. There's a lot of riders.
yeah, there's a lot of people
Lot of
trying to sign up, and some kid that was Chase Colville was trying to sign up, and he signed up as soon as it was open, and then it site crashed, and he went from being in a row that was supposed to be really far up, and he was
Back
way
in
back.
500.
Yeah.
So
I've heard
I
crazy
wouldn't want to
stories.
ride Sumter at 5. They're probably still racing.
Could you imagine like
They're
how
still out there.
smoked the trails are
Dude.
too back there? Like it's not even fair. You can get lost.
Holes.
Like trails going everywhere.
Johnny, if we can, kind of the same question to you that we had for Layne. What like your takeaway? What kind of made sense to you from the Enduro today? What shocked you? Anything different than what he had to say, or kind of same?
Kind of the same thing. Yeah, I expected Grant to be up there. He's super good at him, and Ryder and Craig have both been riding really good down here. So I figured they'd be up there. I don't know why Stu got 7th. Maybe something happened. Maybe not. Maybe he was just off a little bit. And Ben's probably just taking it easy, working his way back into it. Not getting over his head or doing anything stupid. So like Caleb said, he went from 7th in the second round. He won it. So I don't know. I think he's just feeling it out, starting off slow and working his way into it.
Yeah. So Johnny, like you pointed out, Ben just kind of starting off slow and steady, building from there. Stu, I think all of us have kind of referenced we don't really know if there was an issue and what the issue was today. But the one thing we haven't really addressed is his test scores: 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. So it wasn't like he had some wins and then some bad tests that set him back there. Because a lot of times, if you just look at the results in aggregate, it can look like, oh, he finished 7:08 and P5 for the day. Maybe he won 5 tests. and had
Something
one bad
broke
one.
or
yeah.
he had a big crash or
But
something like
following the results all day, like he was kind of like you were saying with Ben, like he was kind of at that same level all day. So you'd almost have to guess either he has an issue or there was an issue with the bike, or him meshing with the bike, something going on there. Because I mean, for him to be P5 and again, out not even P5OA, P5 in class and 6.70A on a lot of the tests. He was 5.0A on a few of the tests.
that.
But
7th overall in the day.
yeah, not where you'd expect him to be. So it'd be interesting. I mean, you never know. Could be sick. Like a lot of things could be. Whatever it was consistent throughout the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's, consistent it was, but definitely not the Stu Baylor I think any of us expected to show up at the race. You think of Stu, you think of Sumter. It's like, damn it.
Hey, maybe we
You
could
know he's
get,
going to be there.
maybe we
Yeah.
could get him on next week and he could tell us all about it.
Yeah, maybe. We got to prep for this one.
We keep saying that. We're like, we're not ready to have Stu on just
Not
yet.
ready. I'm not ready.
We don't have enough Busch Light just yet. The fridge is only half full.
Who drinks Bush here?
Oh, is it? What did I say?
Stu.
Stu does. Oh, you mean him actually come down? Gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought you meaning phoning in. I thought you were meaning
No.
our host here.
No, that's Miller Lite.
Yeah, that's why I was like, you're off. Come on.
Come
It'll
on,
be
man.
close here.
Come on,
Round
man.
2 of the GNCC.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Right down the road.
Yeah, he'll be in town. We might be able to get him on board for that.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
It was good. So Johnny, tell us a little bit about this elbow. We see it's wrapped up. I don't know if I don't think the camera can see it, but we got some.
Yeah, I got a fat elbow here.
You look like you crashed your tricycle. Do you need a quad?
Yeah, I need 4 wheels. No, so I just had some old hardware. I'd snapped the end of my elbow off about 10, 12 years ago. And yeah, just wire sticking out, irritating my arm, and just had to get it out. Got Dr. Tanner cleaned it up, made it smooth, and took out the bursitis sac. It was super thick and nasty and swollen up and caused me a bunch of pain. Kind of had to ride through it at the first sprint and said, I can't keep going with this. Sprint's one thing, a GNCC is another. So I called Dr. Tanner that weekend, and he's like, yeah, come on down. Met him Monday, and he ripped it out Wednesday, and now we're stapled up. And
Was he
healing
able,
up.
was he with the new safety on site, the SOS? Was that at the Sprint Enduro?
It wasn't.
It
at
was
the
not.
Sprint Enduro.
I was wondering if he was there with the new safety on site
No.
program there with his mobile X-ray thing to check out all that hardware you got going on in that elbow. It's
Yeah.
pretty. It looks like a toddler got in there with a Tonka set or something.
It's a rat's
It's
nest.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but no, I think he's at the National Enduro today.
Yep, I seen SOS was at the National Enduro providing service.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously a huge step in the right direction for off-road to obviously there's medical staff on site, but to further evaluate yourself, instead of having to go to the hospital or getting hauled off in an ambulance to figure out the problem, that's made possible right there, and very knowledgeable staff, it sounds like. So
Yeah, that's
really
really that's what's good is Dr. Tanner knows a lot about motorcycles, so you're not getting your normal ambulance person like trying to fix something that's hurt on your arm, and they're worried about your ankle.
yeah,
So unfortunately and fortunately, I got to meet Dr. Tanner, and yeah, he took care of me a lot last year. So they're in good hands to have him, and I mean we all are to have him at the races now, and he's doing it right. And yeah, I know I was very thankful many times. Obviously, Johnny just went and visited him, so yeah, he takes care of all of us, and definitely going to be cool to have him around. Hopefully, I don't have to see him much this year other than in the pits, but nonetheless, it'll be good to have him there for everyone.
yeah. It's one guy you don't ever really want to visit.
No.
You'd rather just be
Like
high
that.
fiving him and
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
"Hey, good to see you," instead
Yep.
of "Hey, we need to talk."
Yeah. Unfortunately, last year I had to do that too many times, and this year we're, just hopefully waving at each other a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes it nice and easy for us when we do need to see him. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. What I see he has obviously he built the UTV as far as a transport vehicle to utilize to move riders if they need to get them off the track. But does he have like a box van set up or some sort of RV with all the equipment or?
So I know he has an RV. I don't know if he's got it necessarily set up for that. Yeah, I know Stu would know, but
Yeah.
I personally don't know, but I know he's doing it right. Like his X-ray machine, he brought it to a Yamaha camp we had over the summer last year, and he was bringing some of the equipment that he was testing out, and yeah, he's doing it right, and he's just, I think for the longest time he was just trying to get the right help to make it feasible, so he wasn't spending money out of his own pocket. But yeah, he's doing it right. I don't know the extent of all his equipment and stuff, but yeah, I'm sure it's good enough for what most of us need out in the woods.
And I think the idea, from what I gathered from the press release I saw, is just to be able to kind of assess people on site to determine what type of care and what type of transport they need. Obviously, to have somebody at that level of knowledge and to have the equipment on hand on site to be able to, do X-rays and potentially even go further. From what I've heard, there is a potential to have some more advanced equipment to just really kind of take stock of where someone's at before. Obviously you always want to err on the side of caution when you don't know the extent of someone's injuries. So if you know, like, oh, hey man, looks like it's just a broken bone, other than that, you're good to go. You can save piles of money in battles with insurance companies, and not getting on the whirlybird with the big with the big flapping rudders, and it can definitely save you some stress in the long run. Or hey, we don't think you're that bad, but in our we didn't think you were that bad, but in our assessment, you may have some other issues going on. So we need to take every precaution to make sure that you're transported safely. So that's kind of the real advantage there for sure.
Yeah. Yep, for sure.
No, it's really cool. It's a cool thing that it's a very huge step for off-road to have some sort of mobile medical unit, so to speak.
Yeah.
And just like I said, to be able to be evaluated right there. And that's not just for the pro riders. That's for, every rider out there. Any athlete that is on the track that has an injury or gets hurt, Dr. Tanner and Safety on Site is available to you, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, that's the way I was reading the press release. Yep. And, even if you watch Supercross, like they always talk about the Asterisk Mobile Medical Unit. And one of the things that they say is, unfortunately, all of us have probably had a big one at one point or another. And sometimes it is just reassuring to see a face that, like, we won't go into too much detail, but sometimes the temporary medical staff of the local, ambulance company or whatever, like you don't know them, they don't know you. It's just this strange person kind of like making recommendations. And you're like, should I trust this person or shouldn't I? Like having that rapport even if you personally don't, knowing that a bunch of people have dealt with this guy, he knows what he's doing, he has your best interest in mind. That's a big comfort and reassurance in a time when you're kind of questioning everything. So it's huge.
Yep, for sure.
So let's move on into to what these guys are doing in 2 weeks here. We got Johnny and Layne in studio. Johnny's obviously started off the U.S. Sprint Enduro on top. Now he's got his arm cut open here. It's a very strange start. It's like we go to a race and then boom, it's like didn't crash, nothing happened. But now we had a minor surgery. Obviously, we just talked about it. Got some old hardware removed. How's this thing gonna feel? Is it obviously you got a lot of racing coming up in the next month and a half here? So
yeah, it's probably gonna suck at first, but
I like the honesty, man.
Yeah, just gonna have to get.
Dude, I don't even feel it. No, it's probably really gonna suck.
Yeah, I'm just going into it with a positive mindset, and you got to do what you got to do sometimes. I'm gonna go to the sprint this weekend, and it's gonna be about 10 days out, and see how it feels. Maybe try to fight up top. Maybe try to ride around for points. I'm not sure. The big goal is to, have it good enough to go for big buck. That's about 18 days out from my surgery. So should be, mostly healed up, the wound. There's not much inside that got, fixed besides the bursitis sac that got cut out, but that's all good. So just kind of waiting on the wound to heal. And it should be good for round one GNCC. The sprint might be a little rough, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it's a bummer that this is kind of just all of a sudden flared up in the last few weeks. I know there a while back, a few months ago, it kind of flared up and it was giving you some issues and kind of brushed it under the rug, just didn't think twice about it. And then it happens again right before you go to the sprint enduro. And now it's a little bit worrisome that you don't want to have this issue going on throughout the year. You were trying to originally make it to summer break before we get this thing taken care of, but it doesn't seem like that may be a possibility, or obviously it was not going to be a possibility.
Yeah. So it flared up, I think in November sometime, and I took some steroids and it went down in like 3-4 days. And this time I was waiting for it to feel better, and went to the sprint just not knowing what was going to happen. Broke my race bike in Friday and was in a lot of pain. So I called Dr. Tanner, was going into Saturday nervous. But yeah, so I asked him back in November if I should get this taken out, is it going to be a problem? And they're like, no, I wouldn't do it right now. First time in 10 years or so, like, maybe it was just a freak accident or something like that. And I had a weird feeling about it. Selena told me, we should, think about getting it taken out. And I was like, nah, the doctor didn't recommend it. Maybe there's more to it. And of course it flares up right before first race in 2023. It was kind of a kick in the balls. Just feeling really good, riding really good. New team, new bike's awesome, and yeah, just to go into the first round, how good I was feeling to not be 100% and just have this issue. But it is what it is. I got through it and stuff and got it fixed, and maybe made life at these next couple rounds a little hard on myself, but for the long run I think it's going to be good. There's no way I could have made it to summer break, so I had to get it out of the way, and it's only up from here. So
Yeah, it is. It's kind of is what it is. And for those of you out there that have no idea what bursitis is, it's pretty gnarly. Johnny, have you ever had it? You're getting pretty old. You've had some injuries.
Thankfully I have not. I know a lot of people that have dealt with it, but I never have.
I went and got an MRI because I thought my shoulder was coming back apart after I got surgery. It was like 6-7 months after I got surgery. I thought where they had my anchors to tie my labrum back together, I thought my anchors were coming out and like getting stuck in my joint. Like it was hurting so bad. It was just like somebody had like a needle in there just prying around.
painful.
So yeah, when you have like bursitis like in a joint area, like it's excruciating really, because it's like you'll be fine and then you're just gonna move and just like it's like somebody just stuck.
Yeah,
a
it
pick in
happened
there,
when
so-
I was sleeping overnight.
Yeah.
Wake up call.
Yeah, woke up at 7 in the morning and drove myself to the hospital. I was like, what the hell happened? I can't move my arm.
It's awesome. Well, at least we're on the right path to getting it straightened out. And then on this other end over here, we got Layne here. He's with a new. What is your team? Are we on a team? It's just solo Layne Michael.
Yeah. It's
Ellen
We got
Motorsports.
big Newtons across the Scott goggles.
Yes.
something.
It's just me in the car.
This sticker is awfully inconvenient, but I sure do love big Newtons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a kind of privateer program that I had to throw together. Obviously, it was quite unexpected for me, but at the end of the day, it's a really good program. Obviously, financially, it's not the best. We took quite a big hit there, but no, I'm on a really good motorcycle. I had a lot of great companies step up when honestly I didn't think they were going to be able to. It was so late in the season, but man, for this year, for me, we can get into depth as much as you want, but like this year for me, it's not about necessarily going to make money. I have a completely different mindset this year than I've had probably the whole time I've been racing. As much as it sucks, this is what I needed. I was about ready to call it quits after last year, and technically I still had another year on my contract. So it was going to be difficult moving forward.
So to that end, obviously, previously with the AmPro Yamaha team, I think when you and I had talked, I think as recently as when we were in France in September, you had another year on your contract, and then everything kind of changed for you. When, how, I guess, kind of walk us through how that went down and what the time frame was. And, you mentioned it was late that you were trying to put all this together. Kind of how did it all come together, and what was the time frame, and how did it all work out?
Yeah, so honestly, I didn't find out that they were going to terminate my contract until the weekend before Ironman. And the part that sucked for me is I heard the rumor from someone else. It didn't come straight from the source, so that was kind of a dagger stuck in me. But everything happens for a reason. Like, I will say that. But as far as like how it happened, it wasn't okay. I was pretty disappointed in how I found out the news, and then when I made the call, to my boss, and I was like, "Hey, like, is everything good for next year?" Like, I heard this rumor, and then just out of nowhere, he's like, "Yeah, like it's not looking good." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, I have a 2-year deal," and it backdrags into a lot of things that happened previously as well. But the only thing that I ever heard throughout this year, and like I'll be the first to say, like this past year was awful. Like I'm not afraid to admit it. Like obviously I felt really good coming into the season. I felt like I made some big strides, in my mental state, and I was healthy coming into Big Buck. But yeah, things didn't work out. And I'm okay with saying that. But, you know, before this happened, it was like kind of 6 days, going into 6 days. The only thing that I heard was if you come back after 6 days and don't perform well, like there could be some repercussions. But I didn't know what that meant. Like, I just didn't know if like I was going to get a scolding or what. But, you know, a lot went into it. Obviously, I was injured a lot. And then for some reason in the middle of July, I had this stomach issue flare up. And I'll be honest, I just thought it was a little bug that went around. And yeah, it messed me up for quite some time. I had issues at 6 days. And, you know, it flared up really bad at the West Virginia race, the first one back from summer break. And ultimately, I had to pull off the track twice to use the bathroom. And like, it was an extensive amount. Like it was, I mean, it sounds stupid, but like it was.
Johnny's done it.
I know. Yeah. But like, it was just excruciating. And I know, I mean, he knows what it's like. He's done it. But like, this one kept coming back. And it was like, it wasn't good. So when I addressed that to the team, like, they were telling me all's good, like no worries, go get it figured out. Don't race till you get it, you know, sorted. Or if you don't think you can make it through the race, like don't line up. So I was under the assumption like go get it figured out. So I spent a lot of money and doctors trying to see GI people and had a colonoscopy done. And they were staying in touch with me. They said, you know, go get colonoscopy done, figure out the issue, get ready for next year. So I'm like, all right, like I was already out of the points. Like I finished, I think 2 races in the GNCC series and rode hurt and all the sprints last year. So it was just, it was rough. And I was like, you know what, like I need this time. I need to take a break and, you know, just get healthy. I rode hurt all year and it wasn't too enjoyable. And I was struggling as it is. So, when I pulled off the track at West Virginia, I told a lot of people, I was like, I'm done. Like, they're like, oh, like done with the race. So I was like, no, like I'm done. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And mentally I was in a bad spot. I was ready to call it quits and speed up to getting all this done and having that bombshell dropped on me the week before Ironman. It was funny how it all happened. It was just a light switch that went off in me. I'm like, you know what? Like I was pissed, obviously. I have a little one coming on the way too. So to know you're losing that guaranteed money was a kick. And then obviously being as late in the year as it was quite, I wasn't sure what was even going to be feasible. I know all the teams were locked up. So I knew that like right then and there that was out. But just hearing that it was going to get terminated and for the reasons why it was getting terminated was difficult to take. But at the same time, I just kind of hung up and like, obviously we had some words, got a little heated, and then I just hung up. I'm like, I'm done. I was like, there's no recovering this. And I don't want to say I didn't want to be there. The motorcycle was great. I loved it, but I didn't love it for 3 hours. I'm kind of a smaller guy riding the 450. I struggled on it like for 3 hours. I'm in good shape. The bike was set up awesome. I had no complaints with that, but I could manage it at the sprints. I could ride it how I wanted to at the sprints. But when it came to GNCCs, it seemed like every time around 2 hours, I'd just start to get a little fatigue and then I'd end up on my head and it was getting old. I was trying to ride a smaller CC motorcycle and it just wasn't happening. And so I didn't know where I was going to go forward. Like even heard I was sitting there before I knew my contract was terminated. I was like, I don't think I can do this another year. Like I didn't want to. So as soon as I got the call saying I was getting canned, I was kind of like, all right, cool. Like kind of that fire got lit under me. And I'm like, you know what? Like I want to prove them wrong, but it's not as much as I wanted to prove them wrong as I wanted to prove it to myself. And that's kind of where I'm at. I only called one person, and luckily he took my call, and a lot of things worked out in my favor. And I got some great motorcycles with Gas and Auntie, Jeff, Timmy, Anthony, all those, that whole group. They all pitched in to help me, and we got some really good motorcycles. Factory Connection stayed behind me, and a lot of people that I didn't think were going to be able to did, and I'm just really happy. Obviously, I still got a little work to do with kind of just getting the bike how I kind of want it, but as far as all the main stuff, I went for the best products, and then the rest is kind of up to me, which is something that I needed. I'm not doing this for for anyone else other than myself in a sense. Like, yes, I want to represent these companies well, but yeah, I could have easily just swept myself under the rug and been an easy way out for me, and wouldn't have to take too many repercussions because I was kind of forgot about. So this year's kind of for me. I don't see it going bad by any means. Like, I'm very happy with how everything's been going right now and how I feel. But yeah, if this is the last year, then at least I know, I did what I could to have my best season. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Obviously, I left some details out. I don't want to talk bad and on the company, because like I said, it's not all their fault either. I mean, when you look at the results, the sheets, when it was read to me, I was kind of like, yeah, no, I understand your reasonings, but it was just more or less how it all went down was not okay. And yeah, it definitely came at a bad time, but then again, I think it came at the best time. So
Yeah, long and crazy process.
yeah,
It's something. Like, it's got to be the first person I know on the bike side and off road to have their contract straight up terminated. And like I said, obviously the results were not there.
No.
Injured all season, always battling a shoulder injury, stomach issues late. But yeah,
We did mention also Stu and Shirko. There was that one as well.
that's the only other one. Yeah. Yeah. So two in off road, and they've been the last 2 years. But obviously, Layne's issue is a little bit different. He was led to believe that, get it figured out, get healthy, come back. We're here. Somebody just didn't have the balls to tell him what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of all hidden, and then boom, here comes Zacho. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, there's a lot into it for sure. Like I said, I see their reasonings why. Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, it was embarrassing. Like, I was embarrassed to show up to the races because I knew I shouldn't be there, but they were wanting me. They weren't pressuring me to race, like, through these injuries. Like, they told me for the sprints, like, I was in the championship, like, if I can race.
Because at that point, obviously defending
Yeah,
Sprint Enduro champion
yeah,
from the previous year, and you were still very much in the points for
Yeah.
the championship.
for sure. So like, I tried my best, and like, it seemed like every time
And at that point, it wasn't so much the stomach; it was the shoulder.
Yeah, the stomach issue flared up, and I swear, it's like my wife's whole family, they got a little stomach bug, and I thought my stomach issues that I was having was like my form of it. I didn't get the throwing up, whatever, but I just thought that was my form. And I'll be honest, like, we still don't know what it is. Like, I went and saw another doctor down here, and I've gotten it substantially better, and it hasn't been bothering me riding, but like, I still don't know what the issue is. So, so that was just absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, luckily we got it better. But yeah, the whole situation it was just sad how I found out. It didn't come from the source itself, and the fact that I heard other people, and it was multiple people that were texting me saying this. So it's not like it was just the first person. Like, I've heard it, but it was just the fact that it didn't come from my boss, or that, things were going to progress towards that. Like, I had no time to prepare, and it may be their decision. It wasn't, but I mean, I heard people talking about it after the West Virginia round. So it's not like it was, a complete spur of the moment decision that they made, but that's what hurt the most. Was it's like it was delayed a bit, and then when I found out, it's like if I wanted to keep going, like, everything was sealed up. So that's what I was the most upset about. Not their decision, because like I said, I wasn't in a great spot mentally anyway. But it was just how it all happened. I felt pretty low on the totem pole, and just felt like I was, slightly disrespected in how it all went down, for sure.
So you mentioned, it came at the worst possible time. Like you said, little one on the way, but then you also said it might have been the best possible time. How much do you feel like now, roughly little over 3 months removed, almost 3.5 months removed from, you finding out that you were without a ride? How do you feel today moving forward? And
yeah, I feel great. Like I said, I have a great motorcycle. Luckily, Auntie and that whole group stepped up and got me great motorcycle. Mentally, I'm really good. I've had so much fun riding a 350 again. And like I said, if I didn't have the great companies step up that did, it wouldn't have been feasible. Like, yes, I had the motorcycle that I wanted to be on, but if you don't have the right components either, like it's still not great. So yeah, luckily Ziggy stepped up, and yeah, we're still making progress on some stuff, but at the end of the day, like I feel so good on the bike, and I feel like it fits me. I can ride it how I want to again, and man, it's been really fun. I'm starting to feel kind of how I think I always should have felt. In the sport, it's not that I never wanted it before, but I think you get so kind of jaded with the lifestyle and just thinking you deserve more than what you do. And I felt like I was owed something, and I'm not. Like you're not owed anything in the sport. You got to earn it. And I feel like that's something that I didn't overlook. Like it's not like I've ever, taken an easy way by any means, but I've always worked hard. But I just feel like me working hard was gonna be what won me races, and it's more than that for sure. But I feel like it's taken me longer than it should have to realize, my potential and what I can do and what I haven't done. So it's been kind of disappointing when I've kind of looked back. But then a lot of things too, like it's not like I haven't put my best foot forward a lot of times. Like, yes, I've struggled with some, mental belief, probably I should say. But it's not like I never didn't work hard. Like it's not like I'm sitting on the couch, show up at the race. I'm like, yeah, we'll see how this goes. Like I always work hard during the week. It was just on race day, I just struggled with, I think just getting myself in that mindset to go battle with people that's just as good as me for the whole time.
So Layne, you talk about the, kind of the mindset that you're looking for moving forward, that you may have struggled with in the past. And you and I have had this conversation, not recorded, obviously, previously. How much of your mindset going forward kind of focuses on finding that place? And we've talked about this on other episodes of this podcast before. GNCC specifically, there's this level of suffering that people can't really understand to try to run up front. How much of your focus, your mindset right now is understanding that, you just admitted, you just explained to us, you've always put in the work. It was, you kind of get to that point 2 hours in or at some point during the race when it starts to get harder and harder. And that's where you as an individual have kind of, in your own words, like struggled with that. What do you think? Do you think you're in a different place? Do you feel like you have anything in your arsenal now that's going to allow you to, really kind of dig and fight through that?
I feel like I've always had it. It's just consistently being able to bring it out. Like, I mean, obviously you have the races where things seem to go easy and the race seems easy for you. But, I felt like I struggled in the past. Like, I wouldn't even say like I'm afraid to suffer. Like I can, but it was just the want to, in a sense. Like,
and especially too, I feel like, I feel like for most people, when it comes down to suffering at the core, it's whatever sport you're in, it's where you're at, like as far as your capabilities. So we know we got the capabilities. We know we work hard, but it's still not going to be easy. It's never easy.
Yeah.
We've talked about this multiple times, and people have this false sense of security thinking they're going to do all this work and everything's just going to come easy. Well, it's not just going to, you're just able to go longer, harder now.
Yeah.
And still completely be in a mental pain cave, but you just know it. You know you've put in the work and you're not actually going to die. You just think you're going to.
Yeah.
You still have that same, the feeling doesn't change a whole lot. You're just able to go a little bit more than what you used to. So there's definitely that false sense of security. It's like, oh, I do all this work, I'm going to be in this good spot and it's going to be easier now.
Yeah.
And when you don't realize, if you don't grasp that very quickly, I feel like you get demoralized very fast in a sense. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that realm. And two, I know it's easier to suffer to the max for a win than it is for fourth or fifth.
And that's the one thing we have talked a little bit about on here, but like, you know, you coming up through Layne, you were obviously a standout rider in the youth, standout rider in the amateur classes, you know, battling for amateur overalls with Grant Baylor and in the A classes and coming up through. And, you know, that's something like Caleb just said, like it's never easy, but it's easier to justify. Like, I'm on the verge of blacking out. Like, I'm in so much pain. This sucks. I'm out of breath. Every fiber of every muscle in my body hurts, but that guy right in front of me is in first place, or that guy right behind me is trying to take my first place away. It takes a special something to dig at that same level when you're battling for 7th or 11th.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, in a lot of ways, it seems like, oh, this may not matter today. But the one thing, you know, that I can tell you, and I probably can speak to this more so than a lot of people, largely because my career went so long. And this is something to say where you're, in my opinion, where you're at right now. Like, everyone's been there at some point, but everyone's rock bottom is different. And I'm not putting this on you and saying that that moment was your rock bottom. But if you see it as that and embrace it as that, sometimes there's no better footing to start from than rock bottom. And that may sound like a total, go ahead and get your bleep button ready, bullshit cliche.
Johnny just said a curse.
No, this is something I'm passionate about because for me coming up through as an amateur, everything was easy. I was winning, like everything was great. I got to the pro class. I struggled a couple of years. Next thing I know, I started, and I'm not putting on you or anyone else, but I'm saying me looking back at it, started to justify these reasons to basically quit. Like, I wouldn't necessarily pull off the track, but I'd be like, oh, something doesn't feel right with the bike, the suspension, the clutch lever, the motor, you know, I sucked water, like, oh, my thumb. Like, it was just all these things. And they were based in fact, but they were not fact. Like, I could have pushed through those. And then at some point, someone confronted me many years later and said, why are you wasting your time and other people's money? And it was such a wake-up call for me that it changed the way I raced for the rest of my career. And I just basically said, like, hey, you know, it may not have looked like it to people, but I can assure you, in the later years of my career, when I was out there, I was giving it everything I had physically and mentally. There may not have been much left to give, but it was all I had. And that's all you can ask of anyone. If you can give everything, that's all you have to give.
Absolutely. I think too, racing is hard, man. It's mentally draining. It's tough. And at the end of the day, you have to be at the highest level. You have to be prepared to always suffer.
Yeah.
And it's gnarly. And like I said, that's why I don't do it anymore, because I'm not going to suffer to the max for 5th place.
Yeah.
But, you know, and, you know, everybody has that quit in them, because that's the easiest way to go about it, is like, all right, I don't have it today. I'm just going to settle.
And once you feed that little monster,
dude, he grows.
He becomes a powerful animal.
But then again, you feed the dude that doesn't ever quit.
Yep.
That MFer grows too.
Yep. And I think once you can silence that quit mentality in you, and you almost, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I can tell you for me, the only way I was able to get over it was one day I literally said, I'm never going to quit a race ever again. And from that day, I never did. Like, I just said, I'm not going to do it. I don't care like how bad it hurts. If there's not a bone sticking out of me and the bike is still moving, I'm going to keep going. And I think it's kind of like if you have an addiction to something, there is an addiction to quitting. It's addictive. Like, it's so easy because you're in so much pain, you're struggling. It's so easy just to be like, man, all I got to do is pull off the track.
And honestly too, quitting isn't just stopping the race.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of people out there that quit that don't even realize they're quitting. You know, it's called settling, and that is the same as quitting. It's giving up on yourself and to stop that drive forward and that want and that hungry attitude to push when you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, that's the same thing. And that's how I feel about it. That's what I had to get rid of myself. You know, I was a habitual quitter when I was growing up.
Never knew this. We're learning something new today.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody goes through this stage. Maybe not everybody goes through the stage, but I was habitually, you know, 2006 was a very tough year for me moving up to big bikes. Like, I gave up, like, and when I was finishing races, but I was quitting during the race. Like, I was, you know, the guys in my class were basically a lap ahead. I was just circulating. That's quitting too.
Sure.
You know, you're still out there, but you just given up and you stop trying. So the next year went really well. I got some motivation, and then 2008 it was an XC2, same shit. It was kind of hard. You know, that little monster grew a little bit more. I was defeated that I couldn't ride with these guys sometimes, and then some days I was really good, and I won a race that year. And then it grew to the point where, you know, in 2012, I quit the very first race of the year because I fell down, separated my shoulder. If I wouldn't have done that, would have had 9 straight championships. Possibly. I don't believe that because I would have quit more races after that. Get to the end of the year, I get my ass kicked in the final round of Paul Whibley. I was like, if I just wouldn't have quit that one race. I was like, I didn't quit another race until I tore my knee in 2020 at the second Penton. So it was 8 years later before I actually ever gave up on another race, like quit trying. And I remember I had a huge crash at the Limestone. I don't know if you remember this. It was me, Charlie were battling.
Yeah.
I wadded myself on this back straight on the like a lap and a half into the first lap or something like that. Was like 3.5 minutes down from Charlie.
I think it was more than that.
Yeah, I think it was.
I was way back. I mean, I was getting passed by like A riders. I come back and I was pissed off because I didn't get second that race.
Yeah.
I was right on Thad, and I was like, I let up just a little bit going into the last lap. I had a minute on the last lap to catch Thad, and I let up to like take a breather because I was tanked. Like I was like, I'm not quitting. I'm gonna go as hard as I can because I know I'm gonna catch these guys. I gave up just a little bit. I remember I was pissed off coming across the line. I had freaking bruises all over me, but I got third. You know, I went from a situation where it would have been easy for me to just throw in the towel and say, oh, I just crashed my brains out. My bike's all bent up. My subframe has been up. My exhaust was sticking up in the air. Bars were freaking bent. I was like, no, I'm not going to use this as an excuse. I'm going to go get shit done.
Yeah. See, I felt like I was on the opposite end of this. Like I never gave up when I was young, but it's like when it got really, really hard. I don't remember the first race that I honestly don't remember the first race that I quit from or like gave up on myself necessarily. Like I felt like all in the A ranks, like I always tried till the end. Like I may have weeded my brains out, but like I'd keep riding and I'd weed my brains out again. Like that's how I always was. I mean, I can remember when I first started coming down riding with you in practice, I was balls to the wall
everywhere.
Yeah. But I'd pick my bike up, straighten it out. I'd go right back at it. Like,
Hit the next tree.
Yeah. Like unfazed, but
next lap, snap the bars off the bike.
Yeah.
First lap, break the subframe.
but it is something that like I don't know where it came from, but yes, it does creep in very easily. And I'm not blaming Caleb for any of it, but it's like I rode with him so much and like saw what he was doing in the sport, and I was right beside him for, you know, a lot of it. And I felt like I should have been doing just as good as him. You know what I mean? And it's not that it took me long to realize, like, obviously, you know, he's obviously one of the greatest that's ever done our sport. So, and it takes a special person. There's not too many people out there in the world in all sports that have done, you know, what he's been able to do. So, but just being beside him, like, you just think that it sounds so stupid to hear it come out of my mouth, but it's like, you feel like you do what they're doing and are close to him. Like, you should have the similar, you know, results at the end of the day. And it's not like,
well, you say it sounds stupid, but it actually doesn't. But I think maybe it's an opportunity for you still, even as you're saying it and processing it, it's an opportunity for you to learn something super important, which is the work that goes into it. Even if you're side by side with someone, you do the same work. If your lap times, all your numbers and your data are the same, the one thing that changes it is at some point they're going to wave this green flag thingy. Yeah. You got 3 hours to apply everything that you've learned, that you've trained for. And it's the application of that, which includes the big thing that I think we're talking about. And I think to hear you, to me, like I'm kind of like, to borrow Rodney Tomlin here, I'm getting like those chills, you know, thinking about it. Like, if you can process the fact that maybe a lot of what's been going on in the last couple of years is the mindset that, you know, you have all the tools in the toolbox, you just got to use them all properly. I mean, I think there's definitely the tools there to put yourself into battles for podiums, for wins, but that suffering is the biggest thing. And I'll say right now, and I hate to give the guy compliments because, you know, he's a good dude, but he doesn't let him go to his head. They're already there. I've seen very few people that have the ability to suffer like he did.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and that's such a huge part of racing, but of GNCC specifically. 3 hours, like, you have to be willing to just live in that zone.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely, like I said, I've been able to showcase it occasionally. Like, I mean, there's been times that the suffering just seems easy, but not every race is like that. Like, yes, you have some that's like that, but I think, and it's not even like I know like everyone's suffering. It's not like I'm that, you know, jaded to it, but it's I don't know. And a lot of it's for me has come from not being healthy, and I'm not using that as an excuse. Like, most of these injuries have all been self-inflicted. It's like, for sure, all self-inflicted. But yeah, it's just, you know, last year was the first year I did come into the season. I was like, I'm not going to quit any races, because we had the talk, I don't know when it was, and it's like, no matter what, just try your best till the end.
Yep.
And that's after I got hurt at Big Buck, like, that's still what I thought. And yes, I had to quit Big Buck, but I mean, my shoulder was pretty bad. I'm not saying I couldn't have finished, but I don't know where to draw the line there. Cause I mean, yes, some people handle pain better, and I just knew there was no way that.
Let me pass this along, because this might actually help you. For me personally, because there's going to be pain, there's going to be injuries. For me, my line was I was 1 point. Like, GNCC pays, and to Caleb, that's going to sound absurd because 1 point does you no good in a championship. I understand that. But when you're out there just trying to grind out, it doesn't. Like, with 30 points for a win, Caleb's like, wait, they even pay a point for 20th? I don't know. I've never gotten that place. And that's fine. But for me, like, what really, really helped me on my darkest of days, when that little monster was getting fed, and he was like, it hurts too bad. Like, you crash, you wadded it up. You don't know anything about quads, but, you know, the tie rods and the whole front end is jacked up, and the bike's going left when it should be going right. Literally, the one race, the preload ring came loose and the spring was just about off the shock. Like, those kind of days, like, everything's gone wrong and there's no way. Like, I've asked my pit crew, like, at the fuel, like, what's my OA? Give me my OA. Like, obviously, if I'm 55 OA and going backwards, I'm not going to go out there and keep banging my head against the wall. But if there's even a chance that I can score 1 point, I'll kill the guy in front of me to get it. Like, that was my line for me personally, and that might help you.
And I think, like, if you really look at, I mean, my results were awful. So, yes, I had to quit 2 races in the beginning of the year, both shoulder related. I tried to come back too soon. I should have just licked my wounds, sat out another weekend. I didn't. Tried to race a second Big Buck. Smallest crash, but I just landed on it. Like, it wasn't ready. And that's my fault. Like, that's a race that I had to quit this year that shouldn't have had to be that situation. And like I said, yes, looking back now, but then again, I'd still be quitting in a sense, because I could have kept circulating, because I still rode in third for a lap and a half, but it was like my arm was falling off the bar. Like, it was going to get dangerous. And that's where I just really, like, licked my wounds. I'm like, all right, like, you got to pull off. Like, but I remember having this conversation with you, and I was like, he's right. Like, I've given up on myself too many times. And if I go out and I ride my best and I don't give up and I get 7th, like, at least I can go home at night and not feel embarrassed.
Dude,
and
15th is somewhere to start from. I'm not saying you're a 15th place rider, but
no,
15th is a place to start from.
So then when I went into the first Ironman, I don't even know the name of it, like,
Hoosier,
still wasn't ready to race, but I was like, I'm not quitting. And I had a good start. I rode up front forever, and then I just got tired. Like, I mean, you got to think, like, I don't know where that was in May, but I haven't been riding. Like, I wasn't riding during the week. I was racing the sprints. Anyways, I got 8th. I was pumped. I was like, you know what? Like, I was tanked, could hardly hold my bike up. I was like, that's all I had. And I was so excited, like, moving forward, went to Millfield, and then I got gas spilled all on me. That's a whole story in itself. But I lost 20 minutes. Like, I was crying in the back of the semi, butt naked, getting sprayed down with pressure washer. People were bringing milk, mustard, anything. Like, we got it deterred. And I'm like, I remember looking at Hunter. I was like, how much time did I lose? She's like, yeah, I don't know, like 15 minutes. I was like, should I go back out? And she's like, do you have other gear? And I was like, if you can find me riding socks, like I have another set of gear. And like, to me, that was my most proud moment this year, because I geared back up and I went back out and I got 20th overall. I got a pit board with 3 miles to go, minus whatever, 30 seconds, 20th overall. And that was a race for me that I felt like was a turning point for me. Like, obviously the rest of the year didn't go as planned, like reasons beyond its explaining, but I was so proud to go out and show myself, like, no matter what, like, you can still get in the top 20, like to come from that far back and still make it up. And my lap times weren't, with the leader, but like they were close. And I was back with A riders and B riders. Like, I didn't have to go back out. No one would have said a word if I didn't go back out, and no one even knows I'd probably finish that race. But like, you do. It's one that I was proud of. I was like, I didn't have to. And I geared up in the mud and went back out and finished this race. And, I think I still look back at that race and I'm like, all right, like, you have the no quit in you, like, but what's brought out to make you want to quit? And a lot of it was, I think a lot of it was just this self, security, thinking that it's going to be easy, and it should be easy because I work so hard. But, everyone does. Like, I mean, I ride with Johnny during the week. I ride with, all the KTM guys when they're in town. And yes, I can be just as faster than them. But when it comes to race, it's like, sometimes I'm with them, sometimes I'm not. And, that's something I feel like I've definitely worked on this off season, is not, I don't want to say not worrying about practice times, but I just been focusing on like what I'm doing during the practice to, overcome, certain negative thoughts. Like, if I'm struggling with a section, like, work on hitting that section perfect during the moto, like still going fast everywhere. But when I get to that tough section that's super whooped out and you want to take the break, not taking the break and like charging it, and just doing a bunch of things that I feel like I've needed to kind of callous the mind with some stuff this off season. And it's been great. Like I said, it's been a very, very good off season for me. Obviously, it's everything's short timed for me on the bike and everything, but I don't think that's hindering me by any means. I rode really well at the first sprint. I made a mistake on my own the second day. I was a little off pace, I think, the second day, but I figured it out towards the end, and was close, but just one kind of dumb costly mistake on my own. It wasn't even really a crash. It was just blowing off track and getting stuck in some trees. But I'm very, very happy with where I'm at and how things are progressing headed into the GNCC series. That's honestly my main goal this year. It's not necessarily the sprints. Like, I feel like you can always be good at sprints if you have the sprint speed, and I've always kind of had that. So I haven't really done any sprint stuff. It's kind of been all geared towards GNCC, and I feel like that's something that I've never looked as being my main focus, because I knew I could make money at sprints and make good money at them. So I just kind of took that as my way out, and justifying kind of taking it a little easier at some GNCCs to do good at the sprints. And I'm not happy to admit that, but that's just kind of the truth.
So last question on this, kind of last line of questioning here.
Well, I think the first step is grasping the concept that, holding yourself accountable for your own actions. I think that's step one. And then it's feeding that little monster that's telling you to quit, stop feeding him, and feeding the other monster that's, a little bit harder to get to.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but
no, nothing. I mean,
but it's not easy. The sport's not easy. Like,
there's
you are right though. Acknowledging it is a huge thing.
Yeah, you have to acknowledge it, because there's plenty of people out there that are going to keep, creating this facade and saying, I just need this, or if I had that, or if I could do this. But the first thing is acknowledging that there's a situation, a problem. I've had plenty of this nonsense in my life where I've, have to recognize something and address it right then and there to be able to create a solution and a path forward to make the next stride forward and to regroup, re-engage.
Yeah.
I think one of the most lethal things as a professional, as whether it be an athlete, business, whatever, that a quality you can possess is the ability when you finish a task or finish a race to stop and squarely look at where your successes or failures came from. Like knowing, okay, I won today and I won today because I did this, but I could have been better here, or I got 8th today and I got 8th today because of this. Like the crazy part is the psyche and the mentality of racers and the crazy stuff that they come up with after a race. Like you could write the wildest book of stories of things that are said in the pits after the race. Cause like everybody's got, and quite frankly, their excuses.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Most of the time, most of the people that come off the track, all you hear are excuses of why they didn't do as well.
They're
as they
typically
should have
based in a fact somewhere.
Yeah.
But then they've manipulated this fact to make it suit their agenda of how they want to see the way things went.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying like,
Racers are some of the most pathological liars, and they feed themselves a lie so much that they continue to believe it themselves.
both directions though.
It is, because I was going to say, I am the exact same way.
And that was one of the things I was going to say is when we were talking about the whole idea of the suffering, and Caleb, we've already talked about this on the podcast, so we'll make it quick. Back in the day when you were still in the suffering and I talked to you about it, you're like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's not, you don't really suffer that much during a race, because you would tell yourself that. So when you were out there suffering in your mind, like you were like, you had yourself convinced like, this is normal. This is what people do. Like these kind of heart rates, this strain on your body and your mind is normal. This is what people do. And now looking at it, you're like, dude, I don't ever want to do that again. Yeah. But in the moment, you convince yourself it's fine. So you have to acknowledge it, but at the same time, be able to push it out during the race and say like, this isn't so bad. I can keep going.
And like I said, this isn't a subject to ideally, we're not calling anybody out here.
No.
Saying they need to get their shit together and stop making excuses. But it's to everybody out there. Everybody can take something away from this right here and apply it to themselves and figure out how to use this information and help their racecraft or their mentality or their approach.
Yeah, it's not
something
this
along
doesn't
those
just
lines.
apply to racing.
Yeah, and like I said, I'll happily call my own BS out. Like I was the same way, but I had a different outlook the way I used the simple lies to myself, in a sense. Like I used it to tell myself, what you're doing is not crazy. Like, and other people use it in the opposite fashion, but it's a complete and utter like mind-boggling situation no matter how you look at it. But this is the biggest thing, like for a professional athlete, and that's why there's these groups of guys that love to live in that good area. Is they become complacent and good, and they find the excuses that fit their reasoning to stay there instead of try to become excellent or elite. It's not because they're not as fast as the guys that they're racing against. It's a mentality and an approach.
Yeah, no, spot on.
Johnny's speechless. I left
No,
him speechless.
I've added quite a bit on this subject.
Yeah.
I
know it's been a really good subject.
I've said what I have to say, and and I think it is fair to say that like as with most things, your perspective is almost 180 off from mine. Like it was interesting to hear, because I never really knew. I mean, I remember kind of those years you struggled through as an amateur on a big bike, and then also the one rough year you had in XC2. But I guess that was just so long ago, I'd kind of forgotten about that. And when you think of Caleb Russell, you just think, all those wins, all those championships.
Yeah,
like,
you don't think of this.
The quitting never would have. I wouldn't have even remembered any of that had you not brought it up. Whereas for me, yes, it was a long time ago, but as much as it is maybe bad to say this, like I'll never forget those days. Like they were, because they wore on me so much as a human, not just a racer. Like knowing that I was letting myself and everybody around me down, like it was a huge step for me to be able to acknowledge that. Like you said, like the first step is being like, okay, let's stop with the excuses, let's stop with the lies, and just acknowledge like, hey, this is what's going on, and we can either address it or we can go another direction in life. And it was super hard, but it was super rewarding in the end.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of where I got. And it's not, like I said, it's not all GNCCs. Like I rode through a lot of pain in sprints, but I knew I could manage it and I could tough it out for 7-8 minutes. But when it came to having to suffer it for 3 hours, it was
180 minutes is gnarly.
Yeah, it was daunting. And like just to, and I'm not like, it's not like I'm an open person, but like when it came down to a lot of things, like I kept a lot of things in and maybe I should have talked about it more. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, I was depressed last year. Bad. Like I didn't even want to go ride, like just so many things. And it's like, and I don't know if I learned it all from him just because he was so quiet. Like I was like, that's just how you have to be. But like, it's not. Like I just remember, and I'm pretty open with Hunter as well, but it was just the first time, like when I talked to her, it was really after West Virginia. I was just, when I explained everything and like laid it all out there and like where I was at, like I felt so much better. And I just felt like I didn't have to lie anymore. Because I think I did. I just lied to myself so much about justifying reasons of why it wasn't working out rather than just, just owning up to it and making things better. Like I said, there was some things that I would like to have changed, but I think where I was at the end of last year, it wouldn't have mattered. If I would have been on the same team heading into this year, I don't know if I'd be where I'm at mentally. Like I think it would have may have stayed on the same path. Like something needed to be disrupted, and that's why I think like this was the best thing that ever happened. Like, cause it's on me. Like I said, like I'm not riding for, yes, Gas is helping me out and all these great companies, FXR, Factory Connection, you know, all these companies are helping me, but it's like, I'm not getting that much money. Like, and that's scary. It's scary where I'm at in life right now. Like it's half.
Got a house, got a kid on the way.
Like, I mean, I'm an adult, right? Like you have the house payment, the car payment, like kid on the way, like
It's the real win
mortgage
program now.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have to go out and get good results or I'm not going to have a paycheck. And
this is super improper English, but a friend of mine many years ago used to say, ain't nothing like no choice.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes if you've got no choice but to go out and hit your money positions, hit your marks,
yeah,
you know, it's going to drive you. So to that point, obviously, like you said, this could be the wake up call you need. Well, you know, on behalf of the Inside Line podcast, we'll hope that it is, but now we're going to put you on the spot. Where are the goals? Where's a guy once told me that a goal is, so putting you on the spot, moving forward, you know, we've talked about where you're at, the wake up call that, you know, you admittedly have had, everything going on. We're coming into obviously you've got the full gas. You've already raced the U.S. sprint. You're always at the top tier sprint wise. We know you're going to be up there battling for test wins and OAs. So what are Layne Michael's goals coming into the 2023 GNCC season? Sum it up. Where are you shooting for? What's the goals? Where do you see yourself fitting in?
So it's kind of funny. I made a little whiteboard notes for this year. It's the first time ever kind of doing it. And I just wanted to hold myself accountable. So
this is going to hold you accountable.
Well, this too.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, for sure. For me, like I'm being realistic and I want to make a huge step forward. So, my main goal right now is like be healthy through a full season. I want multiple podiums this year. It's 100% realistic and it's attainable. I just have to apply myself and, I want to be top 5 overall at the end of the year. Looking at it like it's a huge step, but in my eyes, I don't think it is because it's all there. I just need to, I think, hold myself accountable. And it's what I want to do. Like I want to be known as a, you know, a good rider, a well-rounded rider. And right now I'm just known for my speed, and that does suck, but it's good to have. It's not a bad thing to have, but GNCCs is what ultimately makes our paychecks, and that's why I don't have one right now. So I need to go out and
very self-aware.
Yeah, and I want to go out and do well, and I want to be, you know, in the podium hunt every weekend and just battle with the guys. It's been a while. I've done it occasionally, but I want to do it every weekend. So yeah, I'm just really, really looking forward to it. We still got a couple weeks and just want to fine tune a couple little things, but we're in a really good spot, and I'm just excited. like I can honestly say I'm excited to go race some GNCCs and yeah, just go battle with everyone. It's not going to be easy. Got Johnny over here. We got
it's
the man
ironic
himself.
enough. We've got one guy recently released from his current team that he was on. He had another year on his contract, and we got another guy over here making a big switch up from Coastal Gas, still within the sister company, the parent company, the KTM Group. Johnny moving up to what most would consider the elite team in off-road in America. Johnny, obviously you've been on the bike. You've been with everybody, the same group of people for several years now. What's it like now being with KTM on the bike with this the team? You've been around the same people. Is there any added pressure that you feel, or is it business as normal? Because I feel like it's business as usual for yourself, but obviously a little bit new of a bike, same series, racing the same stuff, but now you are with what most would consider the key team.
Yeah. I mean, it's business as usual. I'm going out and racing a dirt bike. It's the same as last year, but yeah, I guess in that sense, there's not more pressure, but in another sense, yeah, they picked me to be on the elite team, and I feel like, I gotta perform for those guys, and they put a lot of work into it, as I do too, and I think that's what makes the wheel go round, and yeah, I just want to do my best and just show what I'm capable of.
You've had somewhat of a non-traditional road to where you're at now. Obviously, being with, again, what many would consider the one of the elite teams in GNCC, obviously the factory FMF Red Bull KTM team. A lot of championships won on that team, many of them by that guy right there. You kind of popped onto the GNCC radar, at least for many, back actually racing with Caleb and Charlie momentarily.
2014 Dilla.
Yeah, 2014 Unadilla. 2013 Unadilla. This kid out of nowhere on a two-smoke, just repping Bob, just hanging it out. Obviously coming from the
blowing through the fence on Pro Road.
Yeah, wow.
It's a banner over the bars.
But
yeah, I remember Caleb rode by me and said something to me. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it probably wasn't good. He
probably like good, you dumbass.
It probably wasn't like, hey, welcome to GNCC. We're sure glad to have you. I don't think that was it. But seriously,
I'm like, thank God.
Yeah. You've had, a non-traditional rise to where you're at. Obviously coming, just to sum it up quickly, multi-time J-Day champion. That's a huge series in the Northeast. New England Rippas up there. Obviously completely different format from GNCC. Almost kind of a hybrid between moto and GPs, I guess. Never done one because they don't do them for quads. If they're listening, they ever want to do one, I'd love to come do one. But
Poacher does kind of the same thing. He's got quads.
Listen, I'm a dirt bike guy now. I'm going to take my Yamaha YZ250 FX up there and go rip a J-Day. I'll come up. I'll stay at the house.
Perfect.
Right around Southwick.
Perfect.
I've never been to Southwick. So, but to that point, completely different path. Was that the first GNCC you had ever raced?
No, I raced, I don't even know when it was. Let's say around 2008, I raced 85, 7 to 11. Did really good there. I
at Unadilla also.
Yeah, I won my class by like 5+ minutes. First ever big bike race was 2012 on a YZ252 stroke in the XC2 class. I was like in the top 5. Ended up, I don't know. I don't even think I finished, to be honest with you.
Were you Batman?
No, that was Ben Ballard.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, nah, I was on
he was a
loud fuel
North Rippa.
Yeah.
Loud fuel YZ252 stroke there, and I just wasn't training a lot and stuff, and I had that, like, I don't know, the mindset where like I just wanted to be up front, or I don't know, I guess I just didn't want to be out there, and yeah, I quit. I don't think I had to quit, but I just came off the track and made excuses. And then gearing up for obviously the next year, I didn't really think to go to any other GNCCs, and I was like, all right, like that was my first like 3-hour race. I'm like, all right, that's tough. Like we're gonna need to do a little bit of training, and I still didn't do that.
We might want to go out and run a 5K.
So instead of doing,
I got that out of the way.
instead of just hitting the big hucks and doing whips at the sand pit, you actually put in like a 20-minute moto. So you were training
I did some cycling and stuff. I like cycled pretty hard, like straight up and down mountains.
20-inch.
Yeah.
started riding up and down the driveway.
Yeah. So I think I trained for like a month before that race. But yeah, just the J days kind of were just, I worked a full-time job. I cut trees and stuff, 5-6 days a week. And, I rode after work sometimes and on my free time. But yeah, I just kind of, put a good solid month of training in to what I knew to do. I'd go out there and kill myself on my bicycle and kill myself on my bike. And there was no heart rate zones or nothing.
That's how a lot of us started the whole training thing.
That's the first thing is just start.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah.
Just start.
Yeah, figure it out.
So I two-stroke always started good and stuff. And I ripped the second place hole shot right behind Charlie and followed him for the first lap, and then came through pro pits first lap, hit the banner, went over the bars. Caleb got by me, got up and went like hell into the woods, hit a lapper, went down this bank, ended up in this valley, got myself out of it, rode around in third place for a while until I got tired. I think Strang and Stu went by me. I ended up 5th in XC1, 6th overall at 17 on a 302 stroke.
Yeah, it was pretty strong. I remember. Because I remember at the end of the race, looking at the results, I was like, shit, he stayed up there.
Yeah.
Damn.
I remember standing on the moto.
I wasn't expecting that.
Standing on the moto track.
Guy.
I just remember, because Charlie and I were battling for the championship that year. This is one of the last 4 races. I had to basically win 3 out of the last 4 races to win the title that year because of how it was set up. And I remember I had Johnny in front of me. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. I could just see Charlie like kind of inching away, getting out of sight. And I was like, every time I'd go to make a move on him, it's squirrely. Like he
hasn't
try
changed.
twice as hard. Like as soon as I get a run on him or something, I was like, Jesus Christ. So when he fell in the pro row, I probably said thank you and not so nice way. But yeah, so I was like in a stressful environment those last 4 races. This is the first race back. I'm in like a must-win situation, and here I got this squirrel ball in front of me.
So 17 years old.
But I remember looking at the results, and I was like, shit, he actually did pretty good.
17 years old, you get your first top 10 away. That was 2013. We didn't really see you back at GNCCs until 2016.
17. I raced the first 3 on the KTM again.
Okay, so 17, and then 2018 on the Obermeyer Suzuki. MCS Suzuki.
Yeah.
Sorry. Came back, got your first XC2 podium.
Yeah.
And that kind of just really fueled the fire. And then, I mean, similar story, different name. Ross Murray at Trail Jesters, obviously a New England guy, has helped a lot of New England talent. Ironically, you are now officially the 3rd Trail Jester to end up on that factory KTM team, coming up through in some level of development with the Trail Jesters team. So, yeah, it's been a wild ride. How does it feel to look back to that wide-eyed 17-year-old, sitting on the starting line, looking over at Caleb and Charlie, and just ring with that little 302 stroke, to now knowing you'll go line up at round 1 of GNCC as a factory KTM rider, in the XC1 class.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Your first XC1 lineup too, it will be.
So I lined up at.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, I had some bad luck there, but anyway, yeah. Back then, I didn't think in a million years I would be in these shoes. I don't know, just how I guess far away I thought GNCC was, and just with not much help. And Ross came on scene and helped, Ben and Josh out obviously first. And I kind of was watching them, and, it was a couple years before I was like, hey, like they're doing pretty good. Like, I could do that in a sense. And kind of at home, just
Had
work.
you raced those guys in J-Day much?
Yeah. I mean, I was a year or two older than them, and honestly, I mean, I was 13 years old on a big bike. I raced my first AA Pro race up there at 14 years old. I got second or third place. Jake Korn won. He was a New England guy that came to GNCC a little bit. But yeah, I just was so advanced at a young age. We were kind of never in the same class. Towards the end there a little bit, right before they came into GNCC, they were racing some pro races, but they were never really a threat at J-Day. You know, maybe in the top 10 or something like that. But yeah, so we kind of were close, but never really in the same class, you know?
And now all these years later, teammates.
Yeah, teammates. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You know, Josh and Ben got to do it. Now I get to do it with Ben. And I think, you know, as much as we're different, we have a lot of similarities too. You know, we're both, you know, got a lot of heart and try really hard and kind of do everything that we can to be the best, and just similar, you know, body types too. We're
Tall, lanky.
yeah, you know, ride each other's bikes if we have to. You know, it's pretty cool. You know, that's
The only
cool
two
teammate to have.
the only two 58-centimeter
Yeah.
gravel bikes hanging out there in the
Exactly.
shed.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, 58,
Yeah.
you have to be a giraffe to ride it.
So when you're a teammate, you know, you can, you know,
Hey,
help each
Ben.
other out when you need to.
You got any underwear? I forgot mine.
Exactly.
No,
you know?
it is really cool when you think about it, though. Two guys
Yeah.
from J-Day from New England, both from Massachusetts, yeah,
No, he's from Connecticut.
Connecticut, but
But
still.
we grew up about, me and Josh and Ben are all within 40 minutes of each other. Josh and Ben are about.
Let me explain
15,
something to
20.
you from anybody who doesn't live up there. It's all the same. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Rhode Island, like Massachusetts, like it's all Boston.
Yeah.
Like it's
all
you know, if it's not New Jersey, it's Boston.
Yeah.
So you guys are all from Boston.
Y'all live in New York, right?
Yeah, exactly. But no, to come all this way, and I mean, now you guys obviously sharing a training facility here for the last couple years, but now officially also sharing the same semi, the same space, and it's it's been a wild ride to watch, and obviously those of us that are fans of the sport looking forward to seeing where this ride takes you.
For sure.
No, it's super cool. No, I'm excited for this coming year. We got a bunch of guys healthy for once and strong and ready to go.
As
So
as
it's-
of yeah,
it was last year was this sort of the same boat. Like we got all these guys that can win. It was like boom, boom, boom. But you know, hopefully,
Big Buck was bad. So let's collectively call out to the XC1 class for 2 weeks from now. Let's just all get through round one healthy.
Yep,
That would be great.
absolutely. But yeah, the GNCC season 2023 is shaping up to be one for the record books. I mean, and if you think about it, the last 2 years, we have a total of 5 wins total to win championships. 5 wins. And I remember when I was racing, which wasn't that long ago, but it was like you would need to win a minimum of 6 races to have a shot at the championship.
Yeah. And
minimum
to
of
clarify,
six-
you're
six
saying
races.
5 wins separated between 2 seasons.
2 seasons.
So last year, Jordan Ashburn 2, the year previous, Ben Kelly 3
3.
in 2021. So there's definitely a lot of parity there. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Obviously last year was a wild season, but even the season before, you know, with Ben and Stu and so many
Still
other guys
wide open.
grabbing wins. Yeah, it's awesome to see so many guys vying for wins in a championship.
Yep. Which, you know, like I said, I would once consider, you know, winning 2 races or only merely winning 3 races. It wouldn't be a possibility. But now I think we live in a time where that could be, you know, maybe 4 races gets the job done. And as, you know, podium threats, got to be on the podium, got to stay consistent. But I feel like there is enough parity, enough guys that can win that the tides may be changing.
There you go. You guys both have heard it, and those of you at home have heard it. If you can be on the podium every race, win 4 races, the
I think it's
the 7-time champ says you have a good chance to win
obviously
the
you want to win
championship.
more than
But
win as
you
much as you
said
can.
4 possibly.
What I'm saying.
Now,
I'm saying,
we're
that might
gonna
not-
explain to Johnny here. Johnny, if you win the first 4, you don't want to stop winning. You want to just keep going. But a minimum of 4. Let's say a minimum
Exactly.
of 4 races.
It's kind of like the minimum of 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. back to Zacho. So we got a couple other things we're going to cover here, but obviously anything either of you, like any burning desire, anything you want to talk about, anything that's really jumped out at you about the off season so far. Layne, we've dug real deep with you. Johnny, we've kind of just scratched the surface, but we've got some other stuff coming up here in the coming little bit of the show here. But anything else you feel like? What else is burning? There's got to be something, some gossip, something on your mind. I can see Layne's kind of got something there.
I'm good. I've been pretty gossip free, honestly. I just been obviously trying to get all my ducks in a row, so I've been pretty occupied. So I've stayed out of all the drama. I've been having a lot of fun, and yeah. As for Johnny, done raced him once, and he still has the upper hand a little bit. So still got to dig in the arsenal a little more. But no, I'm just excited. Like I said, it's going to be fun battling with Johnny, and everyone. I'm really looking forward to it for the first time in a long time, and I'm not just saying it. So I'm excited. I know Johnny's going to be fun to race with. It's going to be aggressive, good racing, and we're going to have fun while doing it.
So Johnny, on full gas weekends when you're not racing, will you be cheering for Layne from home? Like, will you be following the?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're scheduled all over the top of each other.
Oh, so you'll be racing. So
yeah, we'll be.
I'm gonna try. I think I can run. I mean, I have to race to make some money, so that I can make 4 of the U.S. sprints. So I already kicked myself in the ass for missing the last one by 1.9 seconds off the podium. Tough pill to swallow, but I plan to.
A couple dollars left on the table there.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about it too much. I would have probably broke my hand if I would have punched someone. I really wanted to, but no. I'm gonna run the ones that I can that make sense. We'll see. Like I said, I'm really putting my main focus this year on the GNCCs, so I'm gonna base a lot of things. Obviously, I'm gonna do the full gas series, not the U.S. Sprint this year. But if it makes sense to go to the U.S. Sprint and they're close by and it's convenient, and I feel like I'm capable of going, then I will. So it's always good fun to go race those for 1, and then 2, it's good to make a paycheck as well. So I plan to do the ones I can, and go battle with Johnny and whoever else is at him.
Well, it sounds like we have a great season coming up. Layne's going to be racing full gas sprint enduro. Johnny's sticking with the U.S., both competing in GNCC. We are almost in full swing of racing every weekend for the next few weeks, month and a half, 2 months, more or less. Been a great show. Been cool. Great having you guys on. It was a fun episode. It was cool to get in there and pick it. Layne's mind. What are you looking at me like that for?
Speaking of racing, you said there's a lot of racing coming up. There was a race today. Did that your buddy that called? What was that yesterday? Your buddy called. Was looking for some parts for his kid's little dirt bike.
Oh, Bob.
Bob, yeah.
Bob.
Did you ever did he ever find those parts?
Oh man, I don't know. I forgot all about Bob. Well,
I think we might have a little summation of exactly how he went about trying to get those parts for his boy's bike and how it went over.
yeah, we'll have to check in with Bob. We got a little segment right here. Let's see if you guys enjoy it.
Welcome to Off the Wall Off-Road, where
Bob Dunlap.
searches for all the ticks and tricks and tips and shit. Miss Michelin ain't gonna like that. Miss Michelin?
Sarasota Power Sports. For service, press 1. For parts, press 2. For sales, press 3.
Parts, this is Corbin. I can help you.
Yeah, hey Corbin, this is Bob Dunlap. Oh, good. Thank you. I've got my boy. We got his first race coming up this weekend, but down there at the FTR in the Okeechobee. We're needing some parts for his bike, but we got this bike for Christmas. We don't know nothing about racing. my wife, Miss Michelin Dunlap, her brother, he's a sweet man, like a little too sweet, if you know what I mean. But he got us this bike, and we don't know nothing about it.
What are you needing for it? Do you?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not real sure here. You know, we got this race coming up, and I want to make sure it's a good bike for him to race on. And you know, we've had it since Christmas
what kind of
time.
bike is it?
Husqvarna.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's a Husqvarna.
Is it a little guy or?
It's a pretty small bike. Yeah, yeah.
50 or?
I think that's what they called it. Yeah, I think it was a 50.
All right. Is it
50.
the electric one or the gas one?
I'm pretty sure we put fuel in it.
All right. And is it running good or what do you? I mean, I could get fuel for it. What kind of fuel you running in it?
Whatever we got laying around the house there, we kind of just plug into it.
Yep. You just got to make sure you're mixing it because it's a 2-stroke there.
Oh, is that how many strokes? It's 2-stroke then. Yeah,
Correct.
Okay, so what about maybe you know, oil and filters and all this stuff? I've heard about it. You know, on the line there, my wife, Miss Michelin Dunlap, she's got me on the line there and looking some stuff up to try to give me some knowledge about these here bikes, because like I said, we don't do the dirt bikes.
You know, you need what kind of parts or?
Yeah, just whatever you got.
Hold on a second. 1 second. Let me see. There's like.
Yeah, she's pulled up all these diagrams and stuff, and she's showing me these different things, but I can't really see them because it don't zoom in very well.
Yeah, they don't get. It's not easy, so.
Yeah, we see. I don't have no smartphone or no nothing here, and my boy, he's got his iPad, and we tried looking it up on there, but I can't figure it out. My best bet was go to the library and use one of their computers they got down there. By the time I drive down there, it's all day trip. You know, we live out here in the middle of nowhere, but I just wanted to call and see what kind of parts you guys maybe have available that I could put on this and maybe make it run a little bit
all
better.
Depends. It all depends what you're looking for. I mean, like, it's not gonna make it run a little bit better. I mean, I should put like an exhaust or something on it, but
okay. What kind of exhaust?
An exhaust.
Yeah. Okay. What now how would you go about switching something like that out?
You'd get the new one, and then you just unbolt take off the springs on the head of it, and unbolt some bolts, and it slides in. You could do a full one, or you could just slip on.
Oh, so it slips right on in there.
Yeah.
No, like I said, we got this bike given to us for Christmas, and you know, all we done is put a little fuel in it, and he's rode it around the yard here and there. And
what year is it?
The nipples weren't on the tires there, so it was definitely not new. It was a used model. It hadn't been ridden wet or been ridden and put up wet, if you know what I mean. She's still pretty dry.
Yeah, like you'd be looking. I mean, just the slip-ons around like $200. Basically, like a full pipe.
Huh? $200.
Yeah, slip-on FMF.
Well,
yep, that's the FMF Power Core 2.
Power Core 2. Well,
that's a silencer. You could go with the full exhaust if you wanted to, but the expansion chamber's more than that.
Expansion chambers
around 300.
What now? What do you mean? We got one exhaust that's 200 and another one that's 300, and if you match them together, they're going to be $500.
Yeah, and you get your full exhaust, one that comes right out of the motor, and there's one right the muffler itself, the silencer. That's it. It's the back of the bike.
You know, now that I think about it, it says it comes out of the motor and goes right out of the back of the bike. Well, this bike don't even have nothing like that on it.
Why would I put something?
Do what?
Why would I put something on my bike that it don't even got?
What? How's it running? Is there no power with it?
Well, that's just it. He just gets on it and goes. It takes off.
So is it the electric one?
We ain't put no batteries in it.
You plug it into the wall, any?
Yeah, we plug it in there. It comes with a little cord, but I thought that was just to warm up the spark plug thing and, before you take off.
Do what? So where are you putting fuel at?
Underneath the seat.
You just pouring it right into the airbox?
If that's what that's called, yeah, maybe.
She's running good?
He hops on it and it just takes right on off. I mean, I don't think it's running bad.
When he goes by, do you hear it?
I mean,
You just hear the chain?
Well, if the chain sounds like
I'm trying to think here.
we got that first race coming up this weekend, and I just want to make sure Miss Michelin Dunlap, she's gonna have my ass if this boy's bike don't finish his first race. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's your son's name?
Max, short for Maxis.
And what class he's running?
We don't know yet. There's classes. Well, it's gonna be one of them small.
How old is he?
Well, he's about 7. Hey, Corbin, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Inside Line podcast?
I figured I knew it the whole time.
Oh shit! Well, your buddy Dirty Mike's had to set you up. You're gonna be on this week's show. Oh,
I'm deleting the video right here.
No, don't do that.
Oh shoot! Well,
yeah, I'm sitting here watching it record me.
No,
I knew the whole time.
Mike,
I figured as soon as I answered the phone.
As soon as I answered the phone, he knew it. He just knew it. He had a feeling. Dirty Mike gave it away.
I knew it.
All right.
He walked up out of nowhere, and I was like,
I got this strange phone call. Well, listen, we're gonna add a new feature to the Inside Line. It's gonna be calls with Bob Dunlap and Miss Michelin, and you're number one.
Me? I'm the first one? Oh, it's going to be bad. I'm not wearing a hat or nothing.
Well, we don't have... Well, I told Mike to send me the video, but... Oh, you texting Mike now?
Well, no, he's got the video.
All right.
I'm looking at his phone sitting here. He's done walked away.
He left his phone up there.
Who is it? Who's running it?
Well, you're talking to me, Caleb, and then Johnny's sitting here.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Well, congratulations on making it through with Bob Dunlap. Don't let Bob Dunlap fool you no more.
I figured the whole time. I was trying. Dude, you have no idea when you did the Zoom. I was dying laughing. It was the funniest stuff ever. I was like, no way.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I hope you have a good rest of the day at the work. Good luck if you're going to the FTR this weekend. Have fun.
Thank you, sir. You have a good one.
All right. See you, buddy. Well, there it is. Bob Dunlap, first appearance. Johnny, I think he's a huge hit. We gotta give it up to Mike Hall for going along with this. I said, hey, I've got an idea. Entertain it. I was like, you got any guys at work that would be fun to call in and like do a little prank call? It's not that, we want to just keep it fun, keep it chill, have a good laugh. Never hurts.
So did Bob ever get the parts or not? Did the boy get to race?
I don't think they could figure it out.
That's what I'm concerned. And so it wasn't electric? I was so confused. There were so many things going on.
We'll never know.
We zip, zip.
So when he goes by, you just hear the chain. Oh, if the chain sounds like bzz.
This is putting the off-road community on notice. You could be the next victim of off-the-wall off-road.
Hopefully it doesn't become too popular, or, the whole segment.
Hey, we could always change it up.
Yeah.
This is just for now.
Yeah, but I don't have that many good ideas. This is just something that is funny, and I have actually practiced doing.
We'll see how people react to it. What do you mean? How often do you prank call people?
I used to do this all the time. We call dealerships. I got my YZ 426. I can't find an air filter on this.
Without going too much into this, there was a practice call.
Oh, we did do some practice.
There was a practice call that really got out of hand to the point where it was it really got involved.
Yeah, we're not trying to do that. We're getting a hold of guys that work at places. And
maybe buy some chickens.
If you know anybody out there that sells chickens, get a hold of me.
That could be on our next episode.
Yeah. No, we're just trying to mix it up, have some fun. I think it's a Bob Dunlap. He's a good addition.
Miss Michelin.
Miss Michelin ain't gonna like that.
But thanks guys. Thanks so much for coming on. Obviously, again, great show, great insight from both you guys, and we're gonna keep this going. We're 5 weeks strong and still just clicking them off, just like laps at a GNCC, just checking them off the box. So we'll have you guys back. Layne, we're gonna hold you accountable in mid-October. End of October. We're gonna have you back on. We're gonna talk about those multiple podiums, top 5 for the year. Johnny, obviously, we'll check back in with you. The bursitis is going to be all gone by next weekend. We'll keep checking in, and thank you guys so much for making the time for us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the call. Glad to be on it, and kind of not clean the air, but for sure, just kind of let everyone know kind of what happened and everything. So excited for the year. Excited to race with Johnny, and just do some battling.
Hopefully, he doesn't take the inside line and clean you the.
Hey, if so, then it was deserved, I reckon. So there won't be any hard feelings.
Vigilante justice.
Yep. So all right.
Good deal. Hell of a show. It was great. I thought it was a really good show. We'll be back next week with another episode of The Inside Line. See ya.
The Inside Line is made possible by Carry Resources, a real estate and property development company that's WFO. Because we all have to work hard to play hard. Check out their available assets and website at carryresources.com. Also by Scott Goggles. Defend your vision. Thanks for listening to The Inside Line.